Hello, everyone, and welcome to this training video on all things intro to voiceover. My name is Erica Dawn, owner of Erica Dawn Voices. I'm a professional voice actor, narrator, and voice acting coach out of Atlanta, Georgia. And if any of you have attended any of my live intro to voiceover workshops, then the information that I'm going to be dropping for you today on this video will sound very familiar because it is essentially the same. The only difference is we are not in a live format. This is an autoplay format for you to be able to pause, rewind, go back and forth to any information that you may have missed. Once you have the link, it is yours. You can always access it at any time. The reason for doing this is because over the course of the next 3 months, I'm going to be building out new programs, new workshops, and new courses and classes through Erica Dawn Voices, but I still wanted to be able to give you the content that is available on my workshops as I will not have time to go live with you guys. So definitely wanted to still give you those gems. So glad to have you here. I hope that you are excited about learning this information today. If you have any questions at all, you can drop them in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel because it is essentially streaming on YouTube. And also, if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email to ericaDawnVoices@gmail.com and I'll be sure to get back to you, okay? But also, if you comment below, I'll be able to respond as well. So in a moment, I'm going to go over all of the information that will be discussed on this training video today. But first, I want to make sure that you are prepared. So please, if you have a note, pen, and pad, or if you want to take notes on your computer or tablet as we go along, please do. It's going to be very helpful and useful for you in the long run because, again, I'm going to be dropping a lot of gems for you today that you do not want to miss, okay? All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it, all right? So here's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to give you an introduction of myself, who I am, why I'm qualified to be here with you talking about voiceover and the voiceover industry. The next thing we're going to talk about is the definition of voiceover. Okay, so for the most part, we all know what voiceover is. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here watching this video, right? But I want to give you a better breakdown of what it means to be a voiceover artist or a voiceover professional in this business, okay? We're going to talk about different genres and styles of voiceover. We're going to talk about finding your niche, which is very important in voiceover. We're also going to talk about how to find work and opportunities, because I'm sure that is what you would like to know, how to make money, right? I got you covered. Next, we're going to talk about agency representation, home studio setup. Very important, but we're going to talk about how you can do that on a budget, okay? We're going to talk about your voiceover demos, which is essentially your resume in voice acting. We're going to talk about voice warm-up techniques, coaching and training, and so much more, okay? So again, if you have any questions about anything that I cover on this training today, be sure to leave it in the comment section below on this video, and I will definitely reply directly to your question. You can also email me at ericaDawnVoices@gmail.com. So again, hear more about me. My name is Erica Dawn. I am a voiceover professional, voice actor, and narrator here in the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia. I was born and raised, however, in the beautiful city of Akron, Ohio. I studied at the University of Akron Mass Communications, Radio, and Television. There is where I started to kind of get more into thinking about how to use my voice over the radio, through broadcast television, things like that. I've always been told that I've had a great voice for voice acting, or I should, do animated characters and things like that. Not only was I a mass communications, radio, and television major, but I was a dance minor. So I was a member of the Zips dance team. I also went back and became the head coach and choreographer of the University of Akron Zips dance team, all while dancing simultaneously professionally in the NBA as a Cavalier girl, serving as captain during the 2008-2009 NBA season. Absolutely loved that experience. Super, super fun experience. And dance is something that I absolutely love and will always cherish. In 2012, I decided that I wanted to pack my bags and move to Atlanta, Georgia to continue a professional dance and choreography career, as well as get into more behind the scenes with television and acting and writing. Writing is definitely a passion of mine as well. And I wanted to be more behind the scenes in the TV and film industry. I wanted to get more into voice acting with doing animated characters and commercials. So when we get more into talking about your niche and being niche specific in VO, you will hear more about my love for animation and how I thought that that is the avenue that I wanted to take when it came to voice acting, and quickly realized that that was not my niche. Okay, but we're going to talk more about that a little bit later. But that is why I moved to Atlanta with those goals in mind. As you all know, if you've gotten into learning about how to become a voice actor, I'm sure that you've heard that it's very important for you to get a voice acting coach, and that is 100% true. 9 years ago is when I got my first voice acting coach, Miss Della Cole, who was absolutely amazing and wonderful. Every day after work, I would go straight to the acting studio and train for 3 hours a day. And I did that for 3 months straight. So it wasn't something where I just took a one and done class. I had to take an intro class. Then I had to take a level one class, a level two, and a level three before graduating. And then once you graduate, then you're permitted to actually record a professional demo in studio with Ms. Cole. So I was able to do that. I was blessed and lucky enough that right after my coaching and training, I was signed to an agency right out the gate. We're going to talk more about that too, because just because I was signed to an agent didn't mean that the money and the big gigs were coming right away. It took years before that actually happened. But again, we will talk more about that a little bit later. But I'm so grateful to Ms. Della for all of her teachings and everything that she trained me to do. I do have small stories to tell you about how she spoke some things into existence literally on day one that I was there. And all of those things actually came true to pass. So again, coaching and training is super important. Making sure you find the right coach and the best coach to be able to help you and your voice and your goals is super important in getting started in this business. Again, I mentioned that I am also a professional narrator in addition to being a commercial voice actor. So lately, I've been doing a lot of audiobook narration, which I absolutely love. There's over 10 titles and counting on Audible that I have been able to record in studio through a publishing house, which should be hashtag goals. And again, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. We're going to talk more about that later, but I've been so blessed and I'm having a blast with it. And of course, I'm here to give you all the information and goods on how you can get started with doing audiobook narration if that's something that you have a passion to do. If it's not a passion of yours to do audiobooks, that is okay too, because there are so many different avenues and so many different ways that you can go as a voice actor, okay? Also, one of my true passions and loves that I have most recently come into is coaching. So, I have been coaching future voice acting pros for the past 3 years, and I'm having such a blast with it. So many success stories have come out of my coaching and training that I'm so proud of. Through those success stories, I've been so blessed and honored to be invited to do public speaking events, webinars, workshops, masterclasses, magazine interviews, all of those great things in order to be able to share my gift, share my expertise in this field, in this business with others who are aspiring to be professional voice actors as well. There's so much information out there, and I encourage everybody to take advantage of all of the information and resources that are available to you for you to learn this business. But you definitely have to be careful with the information that is out there. And again, making sure that you have the right person and the right people in front of you to encourage you down the right path. Okay. So that is what I'm here to do for you today. I'm going to give you a lot of information that you may not be able to get out there because people are holding tight to the secrets, but I'm here to give you that information today. So hang on tight. We're going to get right into it now, okay? All right, so first and foremost, let's go ahead and get into the definition of voiceover. Again, I understand that you're here because you know what voiceover is, or at least you have an idea of what voiceover is, but I've broken it down in more of a job title for you to get a better understanding of what voiceover means when it comes to the entertainment industry or the recording industry, okay? So, what is voiceover? The job title that you would carry could be voice actor, voiceover artist, or voiceover pro. Any of those would work just fine as far as your title, whatever you'd like to call yourself, okay? The job description is to record voiceovers for commercial, narration, animation, IVR, gaming, dubbing, advertising, and e learning. All right, so those are different genres of VO, which we will talk about a little bit later as well. Your duties and responsibilities are to voice act, provide quality audio and client services. So I emphasize on the word act because we are actors at the end of the day. If you are producing a commercial VO, you essentially are acting as the ambassador of that brand. You may not have ever touched that brand, used that brand, may have never even heard of that brand, right? But it's your responsibility as an actor to go and do your research, do your practicing so that you can be able to speak very knowledgeably as an ambassador of that brand while you were acting out that commercial. Okay. It's no different than if you were on camera in the commercial. You have to be believable. Your voice has to be believable as well. Same with narration. If you get into narrating audiobooks, especially if they're fiction titles with multiple characters, you have to be able to act out those characters. All right. So acting is a super essential part of voiceover and being in the voiceover industry. It's not as simple as just reading things or just wording things, okay? We believe that since we are audible, meaning we have a voice and we can speak and you can hear us, that means that you can do voiceover. You'd be surprised how many instances it's been in coaching sessions where people just believe that they've got it down packed because they're a good reader or they have a nice voice. But then when they get in front of that copy and they're in front of a microphone, it's a whole lot different. And they realize it right away when they're hearing that playback and it doesn't sound so great, okay? Because there is an acting element that is super, super important on top of delivery skills that are separate from if you're on camera, okay? So there's so many different variables and techniques that go into voice acting that are super imperative that you know and are skilled at before you try to jump into the business, okay? All right, so again, different genres of voiceover would be commercial voice acting. So we all know what that is, your commercials that you see on television, you hear the voice in the background, that is your commercial VO. Animation, of course, animated characters for Disney, Pixar, Nickelodeon, those are your animated VO jobs. Narration can be anything from audiobooks to documentaries. So film documentaries, television documentaries, you're narrating something. There's announcer VO. Announcer VO can fall under sports, where you have a sports announcer that's doing a voiceover where they're somewhere in the arena, but you may not be able to see them, or an award ceremony where you hear an announcer voice over the loudspeaker, but it's somebody in a small little booth at the Grammys or the Emmys who's doing all the announcing. Okay, that is announcer VO. Gaming. So gaming and dubbing kind of fall along the same lines as far as categories sometimes. Gaming is where you're doing all the oohs and ahs and the voiceover for those games that you are playing, video games, things like that. Dubbing is where you are voicing over maybe a subtitle for a foreign film or something that's in a different language, and you're dubbing over the already narrated or already voiced production, but you're dubbing it in a different language, okay? IVR. I always have the most questions about IVR and what IVR is. IVR stands for interactive voice response. All right. So, interactive voice response, we all use IVRs pretty much every day in our daily activity and we don't even realize it. All right. So, if you're calling your local doctor's office, if you're calling the pizza shop, if you're calling any of those places that are asking you to press a certain number for a prompt, that is an IVR. A lot of times people assume that that IVR is artificial intelligence, but sometimes it is an actual voice actor who is doing that IVR. Could also be an employee of the business. So most of the time, a doctor's office, a dentist office, something like that, will have an employee go ahead and record the IVR, okay? Or the phone voice messaging system also falls under the IVR section, okay? So you're interacting with the voice that you hear. So if the voice is telling you to press 2, you are interacting with that voice and you're pressing 2. Get it? Okay. Next is e-learning. E-learning is your electronic learning. So that's any of the modules that you have to take when you start a new job, any of the training audio that you have to listen to before you start a new position, anything that's teaching you something over the internet or electronically falls under e-learning. There's lots of children's e-learning things out there. The games that you see that can fall under gaming and e-learning. So sometimes the genres can coexist. But that is an example of all of the different genres that are essentially making up the voiceover space, okay? So now let's talk about finding your niche. All right, super important in VO. What's also super important is that you don't put yourself in a box. So yes, although you need to niche down and you need to have a specific area or a couple specific areas where you're the strongest at, you still need to be able to do it all right? Especially if you're going to be producing a professional demo. Your demo has to reflect various genres of VO in order for it to be shopped to agencies and things like that. They don't want to hear a flat animated demo with all animation all the way through. That's not going to get you in the door. You have to be versatile so that they know that if a Nike commercial comes up, they can get you booked. If there is a Nickelodeon show that's coming out, they can get you booked there as well. But also, if there is a breast cancer awareness or some sort of PSA that they need to be able to book you for, you are qualified to do that as well. Okay. So, even though it is important for you to niche down and find your strongest areas, you still want to be able to be versatile and be able to do all genres of VO. So the best way to find your perfect niche in VO would be for you to think about which genre of VO am I good at? Which one am I getting paid to do? And which one do I love to do? So the perfect combination of all three of those things is how you can find your perfect niche. I spoke earlier about how I thought in the beginning of my VO career that I wanted to be an animated voice actor. That was my goal. That's what I thought I wanted to do. But quickly, as I got into coaching and training, I realized that that was not my strongest area, and I really didn't like it that much. Have I been paid to do it? Yes. Have I been booked to do animated VO? Yes, I have. But do I love it? No, I don't love it. Okay. So it's not my perfect niche. However, commercial and audiobook narration are absolutely my loves. I love to do it. I've been paid to do it and I'm good at it. Okay. So I know that those are my niche specific areas when it comes to my voice. For your voice, it may be completely different, and that is okay. But it is super important for you to find where your niche is, and then we can go from there to make sure that we are prepared when other things come our way. The next thing I want you to understand and be comfortable with sitting in is the fact that this business is a marathon, it is not a sprint. All right. So if you think, again, you think that you can just wake up and jump into voice acting, get a microphone, and just go at it, you're wrong. Okay. You're going to be very frustrated and very burnt out very quickly because your expectations are going to be way higher than where you are. Okay. It's going to take time. It took years. Again, yes, I was signed to an agent almost immediately after graduating from my voiceover training. However, it took 2 years before I actually booked a high paying big brand gig. Okay. So these things take time. All right. And you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be willing to work for yourself as a freelancer. Okay. In the beginning, it's your business. Throughout your career, it's your business, but you have to treat it as a business. All right. So you may have to work as a freelancer and do different things out there on your own or find work on your own for you to be able to do before you're signed to an agent. So if you're someone who doesn't have the patience and the time to grow in the business, again, you're going to get burnt out. It definitely needs to be something that you're super passionate about. It's something that you're not doing strictly for the money. Because if you're just doing it for the money, you're going to be disappointed again. Okay. Can you make a really good living in VO? Absolutely. Can it be lucrative? Absolutely. But it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort. And if you're willing to do all of that, you will be good to go. If not, you may want to reconsider if voiceover is something that you actually want to do. So, as we're talking about making money, let's talk about all of the various ways that you can make money in voiceover. So, of course, agency representation, that's a given, of course, right? Those are where all of your big brands and big deals are going to come from, is through a talent agency, all right? We're going to talk more about agencies and things to look out for and how to find the best agents in a moment. But first, let's get through this list of different ways that you can make money, okay? Pay to play sites. If you're not familiar with pay to play, that means basically you're paying a membership fee for you to have access to different auditions and different gigs that may be listed on their site. Freelancing, we talked on that a little bit, but freelancing is definitely the way to go in the beginning, making sure that you're finding the opportunities, you're getting on different freelance sites that have opportunities for you to be able to submit to self promotion. If you're not one who is good at self promoting and putting yourself out there, putting your name out there, you're going to struggle in this business. You're going to struggle with having any business if you're not able to promote, promote. Okay. Even if you feel like you are just doing too much, you feel like you're doing too much, you're not doing enough. All right. So you have to promote yourself. One thing that I get on my students about all the time is social media. Social media is such a powerful tool that can be used and utilized for free. You do not have to pay to have accounts on Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Set up a voice acting page that is separate from your personal page or any other businesses that you may have so that you can, again, bring that attention into your business and into your VO specific business so that you can start to get clients. Also, networking. So, even though we're not live, when I do my live workshops, I always encourage people to get on and drop your information in the chat. What other businesses do you have? What's your personal Instagram? What's your Facebook? What's your email address? There are other aspiring voice actors who are watching these videos who you may want to connect with or should connect with so that you guys can grow together. Or there could be someone in here who has a business that can benefit you in other ways of your life. You never know. But I always encourage people to use my videos, use my lives, use this video as your first practice to networking, okay? So again, even though we are not live, there is a whole comment section below on this video. Drop your information. Tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what businesses you run, what are your goals in voiceover, what's your Instagram account so that others can follow you. Start practicing now to build up that network. And research. It's going to be super important that you do your own research throughout your business. So, another key to freelancing and putting yourself out there and self promoting is to be able to do research and find different areas and where voiceover can work for you. I have found and opened so many new doors for myself as a voice actor that I couldn't have even imagined in the past to even be a thing. All right. So I've created so many different things and opened so many doors for myself in order to be a voice actor and brought them into my business. All right. So you have to do the research for yourself and find out where you fit best. But there are so many opportunities out there. You just got to do the work to find it. All right. So let's talk about the pros and cons of having an agent. There's really no con of having an agent. Of course, having an agent is amazing, right? But there are some things that you just want to pay attention to or look out for when shopping for an agency, okay? So again, your bigger brands, your bigger deals, of course, you're going to make more money with those opportunities and those gigs that come directly from a talent agency. The agent finds all of the work for you and negotiates it for you. So you don't really have to do any work on the back end. They find the gigs or they have the gigs there in their arsenal and they're bringing them to you. Okay. So they're emailing you and letting you know, hey, we've got this gig coming up. We're submitting auditions. The audition is due by this date. It's going to run from this time to this time. This is how much it pays. If you're interested, submit your audition. All right. You're good to go. You don't have to go finding the work at all. The work comes to you. You get a consistent flow of those auditions. So depending on who you sign with, you'll get a consistent flow of auditions coming your way that will bring you more opportunity to be able to get a pro voiceover gig. All right. Some things you want to look out for, some agency percentages and fees that they take on the back end. Now, any agency that is requiring you or asking you for money up front is not the type of talent agency that you want to go through. Okay. It's not a reputable talent agency. Do your research, go on the different websites. Usually, those talent agencies will have an on camera division and a voice acting division, or it may just be a strictly voiceover agency. That's fine, but there should be submission criteria on that page. They shouldn't be asking for any money up front. The way the agencies make their money is on the back end. So they book you, they get a percentage of whatever they booked you for. Okay. So make sure you know that and understand that. Exclusivity. Some agencies require you to sign exclusively to them, which means that you cannot sign to any other agencies. You cannot find any outside work by yourself. I'm signed non exclusively to my agent, so I am not under that restriction. But you have to be careful when you are signing those contracts. Make sure you know whether or not you are signing exclusively or not. All right. I know plenty of other voice actors out there who didn't read the criteria of their contracts and just signed away because they were super excited and got locked into a 5-year contract with an agency exclusively and we're not able to get out of it. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. Make sure you're reading everything on the page before you sign any contracts. If you need a manager or a lawyer to look over that contract before you sign, make sure you do so, okay? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be making a lot of money with these agencies and you want to make sure that everything is correct and that you are getting what you are worth and what you're supposed to be getting paid. All right. Also, seniority and saturation. First of all, you're going to hear the word saturated so many times in this business. It's just like any other avenue of entertainment. Everybody wants to be on TV. Everybody wants to be a singer. Everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be a pro athlete. That's just the world we live in. Voice acting falls under those categories as well. So, yes, there's tons of people out there who are trying to do exactly what you're doing. All right. As long as you're going about things the right way and you're doing things the correct way, you don't need to worry about the saturation of everybody else because as long as you're doing everything right, you're going to get to your end goal. All right. So definitely keep that in mind. We're going to talk more about that later too when we get into these pay to play sites and saturation. But I just wanted to put that announcement out there to make sure that you are not worrying your little head about all of those things. Okay. Seniority. So, yes, of course, when you first get signed to an agency, you're going to be at the bottom of the food chain, just like I was. When I first got signed, there were hundreds of other voice talent signed to the same agency. So, when those auditions are coming in, I'm getting the same auditions that they're all getting, but they're much stronger than me because they've been doing this a whole lot longer than I am. Whereas now, I'm much stronger than a new voice actor that may be coming in today. So, again, seniority does play a factor sometimes when it comes to your auditions or being booked. And that's why it takes some time for you to build up. So just keep that in mind. You will get stronger as time goes on, as you build up your voice and you get stronger. Even the publishing house that I'm with right now, where I am offer only on audiobooks. I don't even audition anymore. I'm offer only. But in the beginning, they told me I wasn't ready. I wasn't strong enough. I had to come back. All right. So again, if you let those no's deter you, you won't get very far. You got to keep on pushing and keep on going and keep growing. And if you have that patience that we talked about, you will eventually get there. Okay. So just keep on trucking along. Now, can you find work in voiceover without an agent? Yes, you absolutely can. You do not have to have agency representation in order to be a success in voiceover. Okay. Again, as long as you are doing your research and you're finding the gigs out there, you're finding the opportunities, maybe even creating opportunities for yourself, you could definitely make great money in this business on your own. You do not have to have an agent in order to make money in voiceover. Okay. You can make a living doing VO, strictly VO, full time, as long as you go about it the correct way. We're going to talk now about different pay to play sites that you can utilize as far as growing your voiceover business. Okay. So there are so many different pay to play sites that you can use, so many different freelance sites that you can use for voiceover. I'm only going to touch on a few of them though. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about everything that's out there, but there are a lot. So just Google some different things, Google pay to play voiceover. You'll see a bunch of different ones pop up. But I am going to talk about the most popular ones and the best ways to find opportunities. Okay. First, I'm going to talk about voices.com. So voices.com is the most popular pay to play voiceover website there is out there. Okay. There are membership fees that are associated with it. I believe it's about $500 or $600 a year for you to be on voices.com. You have access to thousands of different opportunities that you're able to audition for based on different genres, different demographics, things like that. So it's a really good way for you to get on there, kind of look around for free before you pay for a membership, for you to kind of see some of the resources that they have on there. They do have like free scripts that you can practice with, blogs about the industry that are really, really good things for you to read up on so that you can learn a lot more about voiceover and voice acting before you jump in. Okay. Now, again, it is $500 or $600 for you to pay in order for you to have access to these auditions. So again, I would suggest that you wait until you are ready to jump into a pay-to-play site such as voices.com, because again, you are paying a hefty fee, but you definitely want to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward and ready to audition before you actually pay to play on voices.com. All right. One area where I would say that you can practice is Fiverr. Okay. You've probably heard a lot of negative things out there about Fiverr and, oh, if you get on Fiverr, you're messing up the voiceover industry because you're taking those low rates and blah, 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 blah. Listen, those people who are saying that, if they're making the big money, they shouldn't be worried about the little money you make on Fiverr. And Fiverr is not always little money. If people know how Fiverr actually works, then you'll know that you can make some really good money on Fiverr if you do it the correct way. All right. You have to build out your gig. All right. So when you're building out your gig, you can charge whatever rate you want to charge for your services. All right. And there are people who are looking for good voices in order to be able to use for their projects, for their films, for their e-learning projects. The very first day I got on Fiverr, I got an e-learning gig the same day. All right. And I got great feedback, and it got me even more opportunities because that client gave me such great feedback. So do not let anybody deter you from getting on Fiverr and creating an account and creating a gig and being able to make that money. All right. Doesn't cost you anything to get on Fiverr. That's another reason why I suggest that to be somewhere where you kind of play around with it and see what types of gigs that you can get. You still want to put your best foot forward. So you still need to train up your voice and be prepared and be ready. But if it's someplace that you want to start off with to kind of see if you can make some money, see if you can do some smaller gigs, then that's perfectly fine. Fiverr is a good way to start. Also, Upwork. Upwork is a great place to start as well. Upwork, it was the place that I started my freelancing, not just with voice acting. I was already on Upwork doing freelancing for some resume and cover letter writing, but I overheard someone talk about the fact that they do voiceover on Upwork. I knew I already had an Upwork profile, wasn't getting booked through my agency. So I thought, okay, well, let me revamp my Upwork profile to be about voiceover. Again, I have a client that I got on Upwork 9 years ago that is still a loyal client to me through Upwork. Okay. We still book work through Upwork to this day, 9 years later. All right. So again, these sites can definitely work in your favor. You just got to know how to use the sites. You have to know how to market yourself on these sites. And of course, you have to be able to put your best foot forward. So you want to make sure that you are strong in your voice acting abilities so that you can get those clients, you can get that good feedback from those clients so that you can keep on growing your business. Let's talk about ACX because I'm sure, again, if you have inquired ever about how do I get started in voiceover, somebody has told you to start with ACX. And I don't agree with that. Okay. And let me tell you why. ACX is a great platform for anyone who is interested in narrating audiobooks because it stands for the Audiobook Creation Exchange. If audiobooks is not something that you're interested in doing or producing, ACX is not the best place for you to start. Okay. So with ACX, you are narrating audiobooks, but you are also acting as the producer. All right. So it's not as simple as if you're signed to a publishing house where you can just go in, there's an engineer on the other side, and you just sit in the chair and you focus on your narrating and acting abilities. Okay. With ACX, you have to be the narrator, you have to be the director, you have to be the producer, you have to be the editor, all of those things. So, on top of having to have the skills of being a voice actor and a narrator, you also have to have the skills of engineering. All right. Do you have to have impeccable engineering skills? Not necessarily, but you have to at least know the basics of recording and editing. And when you first get started in VO, let's be honest, you do not know those things. You don't know what to do. You don't have the proper equipment. You don't have the proper home studio setup. You don't know all of the parameters and specs that are required for you to be able to submit quality audio to ACX. Okay. So a lot of people who do ACX that you see narrating title after title, they've been doing this for years. They know what they're doing. It's easy for them to go in there and edit and do what they need to do. But if that is not your ministry, then ACX may not be for you. Okay. And that is okay. However, if ACX is something that you would be interested in doing, again, there are thousands of titles out there for you to audition for. I always suggest that people at least practice auditioning. So you can set up a profile for free on ACX. You can go in there and audition for whatever titles you choose to. It's great practice for auditioning. It's also great practice if you do want to get into audiobook narration in the future. If you get a gig, then you already have it under your belt to where you've actually narrated a title. You've already started with producing and editing so that you know that you can work from home and do those things from home. But again, when it comes to the money aspect of ACX, you must be careful because the way that you are paid in narration is PFH, which stands for per finished hour. So that means that you are not paid for your time in the studio. You're not paid for the time that it took you to record the book. You are paid for the final copy and duration of the book. So it may take you, if you're self-producing, it may take you 40 hours to record a 10-hour audiobook, okay? You're paid for the 10 hours. You're not paid for the 40. So that per finished hour rate could be great. I think ACX ranges from $50 to $500 per finished hour. So if you're getting paid $500 per finished hour for a 10-hour book, that's $5,000 you made off that title. Great. But those titles are few and far between on ACX. Most of the titles on ACX are offering a royalty share, which means that you are getting paid off the back end of the sales of the copies of that book. All right. There are lots of new authors on ACX looking for narrators because they can do so for free without paying anything up front. They pay on the back end. So it is my suggestion that if you're going to do ACX, to make sure that you are researching the title, researching the author of that title, and looking at their sales numbers. This is through Amazon. So anytime you go on to ACX, there's a little hyperlink where it says view this title on Amazon. You click on that and it'll take you to Amazon to where you're able to see the hard copy of that book. Or you're able to see a write-up of the author and see their other books or audio books that they've sold. See what their sales numbers are doing. Because if they're selling 0, guess what a royalty share of 0 is? 0. All right. So keep that in mind. I watched a video on YouTube of a guy who said his first narration on ACX, he did, I think it was like a 10, 12-hour book, and he got paid pennies over the year of that book. All right. So again, publishing houses, being signed to a publishing house, a recording house is #goals when it comes to audiobook narration. That's where you want to go. However, if ACX is the route for you and you enjoy doing that and you feel like that's something that you can do full time, go for it. But just keep in mind that all of those things are required with ACX. All right. So, in the beginning of your career, I want you to understand that you need to know your worth. All right. So, that goes both ways. Know your worth. Most of the time, when you hear this, it's about, oh, you're worth more. You're worth so much more than that. In this instance that I'm speaking, maybe not. Maybe you're not worth the thousands of dollar gigs just yet. And that's okay. Maybe, like I said, when you first start out on Fiverr or Upwork or whatever it may be, maybe you're doing a commercial for $200 because you're not that skilled at it yet. You're just trying to get your feet wet, kind of understand how it all works. $200 ain't too bad for your first gig, okay? So know your worth, understand it. Know that you can't go reaching for the stars or asking for the stars or asking for the moon in the beginning of your voiceover career. It's not going to work that way, all right? You've got to build your business. You've got to grow. And you will grow and you will get to that. You will be able to get to those expensive microphones and things that you need. But in the beginning, you do not need all of that. We're going to talk more about equipment and software later, but I just wanted to touch on that. You do not need all that. In the beginning, you may not have all of the qualifications that are needed for you to get an $18,000 gig right off the bat, okay? Just keep that in mind, all right? Now, in the beginning of your career too, there are going to be instances where you may need to work for free, and that is okay. I'm a firm believer that in the beginning of any business, it is important for you to be able to give information for free. I essentially am giving you information for free here right now on this training video. All right. So at the end of the day, in order for you to be able to grow your business and grow your career, you're going to have to be able to give some free things away in the beginning in order to get something out of it. So one thing I always talk about on my workshops is to use the barter system. We all have friends who have small businesses, right? What do small businesses need in order to thrive? They need advertising. What does advertising consist of? Commercials. What do commercials consist of? Voice actors. And that's where you come in. So maybe you have a friend who owns a bakery and you have a son or daughter who has a birthday party coming up. Hey, if you bake my son or daughter's birthday cake, I'll record a commercial for your business. How's that sound? You exchange. They're not going to say no to free advertising, right? Now you also have a commercial under your belt. It's nobody's business whether or not you got paid for it. All right. You have a commercial under your belt for a brand, a local brand, which is great. And now you can shop that and you can put it on your social media and you can tell everybody, hey, check out this commercial that I did for XYZ Cupcake Shop. Let me know if you need a commercial for your business. Put your phone number, put your contact information, whatever it may be. But now your phone's ringing and people are emailing you about how, you can do a commercial for them. And now you can put a price tag on it. All right. So work smarter, not harder. Think about the barter system. Do some things for free in the beginning so that you can be able to build up your clientele. I was on a networking event, which was a virtual business networking event. And this was right after the pandemic. And someone was struggling with their work and wasn't able to, find work and needed some advertising for their business. They were struggling in their business. So I gifted them a free commercial for their business. Their business started to thrive. And guess who came back when they wanted another commercial? They came back to me. Guess who paid for that commercial? That client paid for that commercial because it was bringing business. All right. So through that commercial also, best believe I put it on my social media and put it everywhere so that people are now calling me when they want their commercials, and other people that were in that networking event, now they want their commercials done. All right. So again, it pays for you to give. All right. Keep that in mind. Also in your career, you're going to have to invest time and you're going to have to invest money. There is no way around investing time. There is no way around investing money. Okay. I've been coaching now for 3 years or so. And I tell you, this one here, the money part, people try to get around that all the time. They don't want to spend money on coaching and training. They don't want to spend money on lessons, things like that. It's no different than anything else. In order for you to grow, in order for you to be able to learn everything that you need to know, you have to pay for your education. All right. It's no different. Again, and I do think it's because, like I said, people assume, well, I got a voice, I can talk. Why do I need to pay somebody to tell me how to talk? Because it's so much more to this business than just talking and reading. All right. So much more. So, and you'll quickly find that out because there's a lot of people who have been trying to get away from that money thing and they find that they're still in that same spot on that hamster wheel because the career's not moving, the needle's not moving. But I guarantee you, all of my students who are in booking their lessons and coming to class and coming to the meetings, guess what? They're soaring. Okay. So again, you have to invest time, you have to invest money. Can you exchange one for the other a little bit? Absolutely. I'm all about budgeting and making sure that you're not spending too much money. So, hey, maybe you need to put a little more time in. Maybe you don't sleep. Okay. I don't sleep much. Okay. So maybe you don't sleep. Maybe you sacrifice a few hours of sleep. Maybe I won't sleep 8 hours tonight. Maybe I only get 5 because I need to put 3 hours into growing my voiceover business. Maybe I won't watch that show that I really, really want to watch so bad because I need that hour to put into my voiceover business. All right. Maybe I don't have the money to go and hire a web developer to create a fancy website for myself, but I'm going to learn how to DIY. So I got to watch a few YouTube videos for me to understand how to build my own website. Right. So you may have to put in more time than money, but you can't get away from doing both. Okay. Same. If you don't have the time, you might have to put in some more money to have someone help you do it. All right. So just understand that both are necessary, but you can put in more time in order to kind of chop that money down, those money expenses. Speaking of coaching and training, again, super important in this business. I am a voice acting coach. Do I have to be your coach? No, I do not have to be your coach, but somebody's got to be your coach. You need to find a coach. You need to find a reputable coach. Make sure you're reading reviews on those coaches. Make sure you're listening to success stories on those coaches. What are the results that they are producing from their students? Things like that. How do they interact with their students? Do they just leave you once they've gotten what they need out of you? All of that stuff has to be taken into consideration when you are finding a good coach for VO, okay? Because you definitely need somebody who can coach you through. There's been so many instances where even my students, they feel like they're bothering me, so they don't want to contact me or they don't want to call me when I tell them you can call me. It might take me a few days to get back to you, but you can call me anytime. I'm always going to be your coach. And they don't. And then it could be the littlest thing that could hinder them or keep them from getting a gig. And then I go and I listen to that one thing. And because I have an ear for it, I can hear it right away and say, oh, your mic was backwards. Or, oh, you just needed to plug that in. Or, oh, just something small and little that they could get from their coach that has that ear and it's fixed right away and they get the gig. All right. So that's why it's important for you to have a coach, somebody who can be there and be that extra set of ears to make sure that you are on the right track and you are getting to where you need to go. All right. You need to be trained on your voice. Again, there are different delivery styles when it comes to voiceover, when it comes to using your voice. Voice is an instrument, it's a technique. There's a technique to using your voice. There's head voice, chest voice, diaphragmatic breathing that you have to know how to use, how to open and close your rib cage when you're speaking, how to be able to continue to read or sight read and read ahead, things like that. So many things that are important for you to be able to know that come in conjunction with you being able to deliver your voice in the proper way based on the genre, mood, style of the copy. Okay. And copy, what I mean by copy is script. All right. So that's a terminology, vocabulary word for you. Copy means script. Again, we talked about networking and how important networking is. Again, essentially, you can utilize this as a networking event. Drop in the comments section information about who you are, where you're from, what interests you in voiceover, what businesses you have, what's your Instagram, what's your Facebook. Let's connect. Let's follow each other. Subscribe to this channel. If you have a YouTube channel, drop it in the comments so that I can subscribe to yours. Network, okay? Get to know your peers. Get to know other people. You never know who you may meet, all right? So super, super important. Social media, websites, all of that type of stuff is super important. Building out your profiles on these pay-to-play sites and these freelance sites are super important for you to do. And half the time, it doesn't cost you anything to do so, all right? So make sure that you are taking advantage of all of those resources that are there for you so that you can grow your business. Let's talk about equipment and software, all right? So again, I always say, do not go broke trying to buy the most expensive equipment and the most expensive software. You're going to hear all types of jargon and name drops of different microphones and brands of this and that. And you need this one, it's $3,000. I just saw this one on Craigslist on sale for $3,500. Absolutely not. Not in the beginning of your voice acting career. A microphone is the least of your concern when you first get started in voice acting. I'll say that again. The microphone is not your first priority. when it comes to becoming a voice actor. I see so many forums and so many things on social media where people are like, hey, I'm new to voiceover. I just bought this mic. And I'm speaking from experience because I did the same thing. All right. I got a really good job, and my first paycheck at that job, when I tell you I spent the whole check on Amazon, buying all types of things that I just knew was going to make me a voice actor. And none of it was right. Okay, I bought the wrong type of microphone. I bought an interface that I didn't know how to work. I had a pop filter, didn't know what it was or what it was for. I had all types of equipment that I did not know how to use. By the time I got in coaching and training, it had dust on it. It was wrong. It was incorrect. And I had to get all new stuff. Okay, so focus on this, your voice, focus on that first, and then move on to the equipment. All right. There's so many inexpensive things that you can get. First of all, let's talk about your DAW, which is a digital audio workstation. Okay. So you can use Adobe Audition. Adobe Audition is a wonderful DAW. All right. And it is inexpensive. It's only like $20 a month. Okay. If you go monthly, if you want to pay for it for the year, it's like $600 for the year or $20 a month. I pay for it through the whole Adobe suite though, because I also do some video editing. So I have Adobe Premiere Pro, I have Photoshop, I have all those things, and Audition comes a part of that package. But you can get those things a la carte. So keep that in mind. Audacity. It's not considered a digital audio workstation per se. It's more of an app that's on your computer. However, you can record and edit voiceover on Audacity. Guess how much Audacity costs? Zero. It's free. Okay. And it is great for voiceover. So it's not the best as far as, trying to record music and things like that, because it is a free software and it's not the most, innovative thing out there. But for you to record a mono track of voiceover for an audition or for a gig or things like that, Audacity is great. Okay. There are some different things that you have to learn to navigate on Audacity, but Audacity is great. You can download it today for free. Go on YouTube, find some tutorials on it. You'll be good to go. Headphones you can purchase, wireless headphones or headphones that you want to wire in. In my home studio, I do not like to use cams on my ears. When I'm in the studio, though, however, for my audiobook narration, I do love to hear myself. But when I'm doing the recording and editing, I do not like to have earphones in. It just doesn't benefit me. But to each his own. Again, that may be something that is more comfortable for you. You have to make that decision along the way. But I would not go spend a whole lot of money to figure that out. All right. So you can get inexpensive headphones that you can plug into your microphone or plug into your computer that you can listen to playback. Microphones. Again, it is frowned upon for you to use a USB mic. I disagree. In the beginning of your voice acting career, when you don't have a lot of money, you haven't made a lot of money, go ahead and use a USB mic. A really good USB mic that is out there is called Fifine, Fifine. It's a really great brand of microphone that you can use. Inexpensive. You can get it for less than $100. Good brand for you to use. It's also a good travel mic for you to use. So if something comes up while you're on the road, you have that mic with you. You can just plug it into your computer, turn on Audacity, and record your life away. All right. So again, it'll help you to get some money so that you can then pour that money back into your business and buy better equipment. Eventually, you're going to need to upgrade. You don't want to be using that forever. But to get started, you do not need to go and buy a $3,000 microphone. Absolutely not. All right. So just keep that in mind. Do not go broke for equipment and software. Also, it is very important that you are getting your rest with your voice. As you can hear, my voice is cracking. I've been talking a lot here over this last hour, so my voice is starting to crack. I need my water. I need some tea. You want to drink room temperature water, nothing too cold that's going to strip at your vocal cords, nothing with citrus in it, so stay away from lemon in your water because that strips away your vocal cords. You can have good citrus, which sometimes people say green apples is good as far as going into the studio, but I just kind of like to stay away from it altogether. Going on vocal rest. You can tell your friends and family, hey guys, I can't talk to you today. I've got a gig tomorrow, or I've got to be in the studio for 5 hours tomorrow to record a book. I can't talk to you right now. Again, I've been talking for an hour and my voice is going in and out. So I'm probably going to shut up for the rest of the day. All right. And that's okay. My people understand. They know I put them on pause all the time. So it's not a big deal. Okay. Stay away from dairy products if you're about to go into the studio because it gives off a smacking sound on the record before you get in front of the microphone. So make sure if you're going to have tea, you don't put any creamers in it. Or if you're drinking coffee, just drink it black. Don't put any creamer in it. You can put honey in your tea that actually helps your throat. or maybe stuck on a cough drop or something like that before you go on the studio. That always helps as well. Keep your lips moisturized. Also, that definitely helps you in the studio to make sure that there's not a lot of mouth noise and things like that, especially if you are recording from home or recording on your own, because that can get really, really tedious with you trying to edit out those mouth clicks and things like that. So just to avoid it all, just make sure you stay hydrated, okay? And of course, make sure that you are doing your warm-ups and exercises. So it's super important that you're warming up your vocal cords, making sure that you are stretching your jaws, massaging your face, making sure that you're doing your breathing exercises. If you're sitting and watching your favorite television show, practice your breathing in and out, opening and closing your rib cage. All of those things are really important. Your posture, making sure that you're standing with one foot in front of the other if you're standing while you're doing your VO, not buckling your knees. All that type of stuff is super, super important when you are warming up your voice for a gig or for a recording or for whatever it may be in voice acting. Okay? All right. So I really, really hope that you got a lot of information there. Do you feel like you're more excited about launching your voiceover career and getting started? Do you feel more confident about getting started? I hope that you do. I really, really do. And I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video and watch this training. If you're interested in furthering your training and furthering your experience with me, I definitely want to invite you to join us for Intro to VoiceOver, the course.
Hello, future voiceover pros. It's official. All 4 Intro to VoiceOver courses are now available on the Erica Dawn Voices School on Teachable. You can now begin and continue your learning with me to jumpstart a successful voiceover career. Start with Level 1 to get all the basics, continue to Level 2 for all things technique and technology, jump into the workforce after completing Level 3, which is all about branding and marketing, and take the bonus course on audiobook narration for beginners. Get access to all the perks for joining the class roster, with VIP savings on one-on-one coaching, a Facebook community group exclusively for enrolled students, and get to know your peers by attending our monthly class meetings. Enroll today and begin your journey to having a fun and successful voiceover career. For access to promo codes for discounts and savings on our online courses and coaching sessions, be sure to visit our website at www.ericadawnvoices.com. Looking forward to working with you. Have a wonderful day.